Welcome to my next 100 Season 1 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important. If you haven't watched the first two episodes of Season 1 of the 100, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, like I said in my first review video for the pilot episode, I've already watched this show in full all the way through one time. It's actually my 18th favorite TV show of all time. Currently, I really liked the first 5 seasons of this show. They were awesome. The last 2 seasons, based on what my memory is, I was not a fan. But, my opinion might change. But I wanted to rewatch the show, so with that, I just decided to do review videos of it. So join me on the journey and let's discuss this awesome and amazing show. This will be the 100 Season 1, Episode 2. The title of this episode is called Earth Skills. And this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. Clark, Finn, Octavia, and Monty flee through the woods after witnessing Jasper getting speared by the Grounders. Monty trips and falls, and they see a human skull on the ground. They hear Jasper screaming and race back to the river to find he is gone. Eric Jackson tells Abby that rumors are going around about the Delinquents dropship launch. He reports that 23 Delinquents tiles have gone dark with spiking vitals prior. Abby says there is another explanation. Someone announces that the Chancellor is on deck. Theonis Jaha walks in and sees Wells, Jaha, his son's dark tile. Marcus Kane tells Jaha that the wristbands are telling them that the Earth is not survivable. Abby asks Jaha to trust her because, for all they know, the kids are fine. Wells, who is finishing burying the 2 delinquents who died in the dropship landing, Atom stops Wells and tells him that he will take the clothes of the 2 kids who died, and Wells tells him they will share based on need, just like on the Ark. Bellamy interrupts and reminds Wells that they are not on the Ark anymore and that down here there are no rules. The other delinquents are running wild and there is general chaos. A girl screams in the distance and Wells and Bellamy, who had entered the scene, head towards the noise. John Murphy is holding a girl over an open flame to remove her wristband to make the Ark think they are suffering before dying. Wells shoves Murphy over and they get into a fight with Wells winning the fight. Murphy then pulls a knife and Bellamy tosses the knife down in front of Wells, saying, "Fair fight," and Wells again wins and holds the knife against Murphy's throat. Clark arrives and stops the fight. Bellamy rushes over to Octavia when he sees she was injured and asks where the food is and what happened. They tell him about the Grounders, and all the delinquents gather around to listen as she explains how the Grounders took Jasper. Clark then sees Wells' wristband is missing and then tells them they are idiots because life support on the Ark is failing, and taking off their wristbands is killing everyone on the Ark as well as all the delinquents because they need the people from the Ark to come down and help them. Bellamy counters this by saying the 100 survivors. Abby is checking Jaha's injuries and asks for his stance on Kane's population reduction plan. If they don't act to reduce the population on the Ark, everyone will be dead within 4 months from the lack of oxygen. Abby wants to give the delinquents more time, but Jaha is skeptical as to whether the Earth is even safe. Kane enters because Jaha asked to speak with him. As Abby is leaving, Kane informs Jaha that Bellamy was the one who shot him. Jaha confronts him about almost floating Abby, and Kane says he was following the law. Jaha tells Kane that being a good leader means knowing when not to follow the law. Kane tells him that he had nothing to do with the attempt on Jaha's life, but he's not surprised by it because Jaha is too weak to do what must be done, and Kane is not the only one who notices it. Wells finds Clark in the dropship gathering supplies and wants to go with her to find Jasper, but she shoots him down. She tells Monty to stay behind to work on communicating with the Ark. When Finn arrives, she discovers that he is too afraid to go because of what happened to Jasper and calls him a coward and leaves. Wells follows Clark despite her protests, and a disappointed Monty tells Finn that Jasper looked up to him. Outside the dropship, Clark approaches Bellamy, who's attending to Octavia's injuries. Octavia tells Clark she is coming, but Clark tells Octavia that her leg will just slow them down. Clark asks Bellamy to join them because he has a gun. Bellamy tells Murphy to come with and orders Atom to watch Octavia. Bellamy talks to Murphy about the plan to get Clark's wristband. And then we have Raven Reyes is finishing up a spacewalk to repair part of the outside of the Ark. She comes back through an airlock, and Red, another mechanic, helped to get out of her spacesuit. She asks them about the dropship launching, and Red tells her that an accident occurred during a routine maintenance, causing them to get ejected. Raven lifts up a necklace with a metal charm in the shape of a raven and puts it on. She asks them to stash her gear because she's on her way to visit her boyfriend in lockup. Completely lost my place. Red tells her that lockup was quarantined for some virus and there is no visitation for 2 months. Adam tells the delinquents to build some walls and warns Octavia to stay away from the boys because Bellamy will hurt them. Octavia tells him to prove that he is not her bitch before grabbing another boy's hand and leading him up to the 3rd level of the dropship. Adam stops the guy and pulls him away before telling Octavia the guy was in for murder and he's actually protecting him from her because he closes the hatch on her and locks her in. She yells at him and that she was locked up for 16 years just for being born. Monty then announces his presence to Octavia where he is working on the wristbands. Jackson informs Abby that Kane is lobbying for votes and she should too. Raven comes up and asks Abby about the quarantine and how she saw open ducts. Abby explains that the virus isn't airborne and Raven confronts her about the council hiding something. Bellamy tries to get Clark to take her wristband off, but she is unflinching. Finn arrives just then and suggests splitting up to cover more ground. Bellamy confronts Wells about being in love with Clark and points out that with Finn around, she won't even see him. Monty is working on taking off Octavia's wristband so he can try to contact the Ark. He pries off the wristband, but it dies. Atom opens up the hatch just then, and Monty tells her to go ahead and leave. Octavia tells him that Jasper would understand why she stayed behind. Monty asks how he's not a total basket case after living under... Or Monty asks her how she's not a total basket case after living under a floor. Adam tells her it's because her brother loves her and that he envies it. Finn asks Clark why the Grounders didn't attack until they were across the river. Clark tells him that the river is a boundary, meaning Mount Weather is off limits. They discover a trickling waterfall splitting into a pond, and Clark is relieved that they don't have to worry about fresh water. Finn puts her into the water, and they splash around for a moment and discuss her father before Clark sees Jasper's blood on some rocks and on the other side of the pond, and tells Finn that they need to get the others. And then Jackson and Abby are going over the data from the wristbands when Abby catches Raven eavesdropping from the air ducts. Raven tells them that the delinquents aren't dying. They're taking off their wristbands because they were told not to do so. And then we have Octavia making a weapon when Adam brings her over a cup of water. She then spots a glowing blue butterfly and follows it into the forest where a whole swarm of them are covering the trees. Adam follows her and finds her with butterflies all over her. She turns and they kiss. He tells her they have nothing but time before they kiss some more. Murphy asks if they are going in the right direction, and Finn spots some more blood before they hear someone moaning in the distance. They head towards the sounds and they find Jasper strung up to a tree. Clark hurries up to him but falls into a covered pit with Bellamy grabbing her arm just in time. He seems to be with letting go of her for a brief moment. They all manage to pull Clark up. Finn offers to climb up and cut Jasper down. Abby is speaking with the council, telling them the kids are taking off their wristbands by choice. They ask how that explains Wells' dark tile, and Abby tells them the point is the kids need more time. Marcus Kane tells her they don't have that time because engineering needs 6 months to fix the oxygen problem. when they will be out of oxygen in 4 months. Every day they delay these culling, 10 more people will need to be sacrificed. Today it's 209, and they need to vote now. The vote is split 3-3 with the Chancellor to break the tie. Jaha talks about they are supposed to be a transitional generation, but now they will be the generation who either returns to Earth or dies out. He still has hope, so he will abstain from voting, ending the vote in a tie to be taken up in 10 days. He tells Abby she has 4 days left to get proof. Finn and Murphy are cutting Jasper down from the tree when they hear a low growling coming from a black jaguar. Clark calls for Bellamy to use his gun, but when Bellamy reaches for it, he finds Wells has stolen it. Wells uses the gun and fires multiple times at the jaguar, grazing it once. The jaguar pounces toward Bellamy, and Wells fires the bullet, killing the last bullet and killing the jaguar. Raven is called into a level of the Ark that is considered off limits. Abby tells Raven that the Ark is dying, and Abby has 10 days to prove that the Earth is survivable because they reduced the population by 320. Abby reveals a 130-year-old escape pod and tells Raven to get in and ready in 9 days. Abby tells her she can use it to do it, but she is going with Abby to Earth. Octavia and Adam are cuddling by the fire when Clark, Finn, and Wells return with Jasper and Bellamy, and Murphy return with a dead jaguar for dinner. Later, Clark is attending to Jasper in the dropship. Finn presents her with a 2 metal-headed deer trinket. Up on the Ark, more and more of the delinquents' monitors are going dark, and then down on Earth, the delinquents are removing their wristbands for food. Finn walks up and grabs some jaguar meat, with Murphy stopping him and asking if he plays by different rules. And Finn tells him that he thought there were no rules before walking off. Another delinquent tries to do the same, but Bellamy stops him and punches him to keep the rest of the group delinquents under control. And then later, Bellamy catches Adam kissing Octavia and tells Atom he is on first watch. Bellamy and Murphy then tie Atom up in a tree and leave him overnight for disobeying. Bellamy, in the trees above the delinquents, a grounder watches the delinquents camp silently. And that's what ends this episode of The 100. So, good episode, but not great. I'm going to score it a 7.4 out of 10. And my character of the episode is going to be Raven and I guess Octavia. Maybe I should have gave it to Octavia in the last episode. I really like Raven's character. That's probably my favorite character from memory of the show, unless my opinion, of course, changes. And I do, of course, like Octavia. So you've heard everything that I have to say. So if you're a fan of The 100 and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, share this video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are regarding this episode of The 100. What would you rate this episode, and whom, if you had to choose, would be your characters of the episode? And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. Subscribe to the channel you're watching the video anyway. Help me get over 100k subs. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.